Welcome to Science in Everyday Life. This is General Science 11, Term 1, Physics. And so let's start with imagining things. Have you guys imagined living just for one day without electricity, without cell phone, without transportation, or even without the internet? Well, it sounds impossible, doesn't it? But have you ever stopped to ask yourself, why do all these things work? What makes a cell phone send messages across the world? And why does an electric fan spin? How can an airplane stay in the air? And the answer is simply because of physics. And so, to make this lesson easier to follow, we've divided it into three episodes. Episode 1 will be physics, or why physics matters. Episode 2, the physics behind everyday technologies, and third would be the physics careers and everyday application. So if you're ready, let's discover the science behind everything we do. And so, what comes to your mind when you hear the word physics? Well, for many students, physics means difficult equations or long computations, confusing formulas, but physics is more than solving mathematical problems. Physics is actually the science that explains how our world works. It helps us understand motion, energy, forces, electricity, light, sound, and countless other phenomena that we experience every day. As a matter of fact, whether you realize it or not, you've already been using physics since the moment you woke up this morning. And so, do you think you guys can can you guys survive one day without physics? Uh, think about this simple question and answer carefully. Well, probably most of you or most people would say yes. And before you decide, let's look at a few everyday situations. Do you think you can live without electricity or without your cell phone? Without transportation or without the internet? No Wi Fi, no public transportations, no elevators, traffic lights, hospital lose power, banks stop operating, school can't use computers and other technologies, and well, poof, suddenly, many of these things we take for granted disappear. And that's because almost everything around us depends on physics. So, again, physics isn't just another subject in school. It helps us it helps modern life become possible. So now let's look at what today's lesson. And so our objectives will be first, define physics and recognize situations where physics is present in everyday life. These are simple objectives, but very important ones because once we understand what physics is, we'll begin to notice it everywhere. So let's do a quick activity. It's a think, pair, share. Think about everything you used before arriving at school or before watching this video. Can you list 5 objects? They can be anything. Maybe your cell phone, your electric fan or air condition, your refrigerator, your laptop, your motorcycle, your bicycle, or perhaps your headphones. Pause this video for a moment and write down 5 objects. And I'll wait here. And well, have you finished? Well, that's actually great. In a classroom setup, this is the part where students compare their answers with a classmate. And since we're learning online, I'd love for you to join the discussion in the comments. What 5 objects did you write? And did anyone list the same object as you? And so let's think about your answer. Which object appeared most often? Was it cell phone, the internet, transportation, or maybe your air conditioner or electric fan? Now, here's another question. Among all those objects, which among you think is the most important? Remember, there is no single correct answer here. Your answer depends on your own experiences. And now let's connect all of those answers together. What common benefit do these objects provide? Well, most of them make life easier, right? And they help us communicate, travel, study, cook, work, and even entertain ourselves. But here's the most important question. What allows all these objects to work? And so the answer is probably you know already. The objects you listed, such as cell phones, electric fans, refrigerators, laptops, and vehicles, don't work by magic. They operate because of scientific principles involving energy, motion, heat, electricity, light, and sound. The branch of science that help us understand all these phenomena is called physics. So, what is physics? What exactly is physics? So, by definition, physics is the study of matter, energy, force, and motion. These four ideas form the foundation of everything we'll learn throughout this course. Whether you're talking about moving cars, electricity, machines, or even planets orbiting the sun, physics helps explain how they work. In much more simpler version, physics helps explain how things work and why they behave the way they do. Just like how basketball bounce, or why does a basketball bounce? Why does a rainbow appear after it's rain? Why can airplanes fly and how does your phone connect to internet? And you were able to watch this video now. These are just few of the many questions that physics can answer. And throughout this course, we'll explore many more. And so today's lesson we've taken into first step, or today we've taken our first step into the world of physics. We've discovered that physics isn't just about formulas or solving equations, it's the science that helps us understand the world around us. So, from the moment we wake up until we go to sleep, physics is constantly at work in our daily lives. But this is just the beginning. In episode 2, we'll look at familiar technologies such as our Wi Fi router, the bicycle, elevator, and speaker, and uncover the fascinating physics behind each one. So if you enjoyed this lesson, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to Science in Everyday Life, and turn on the notification bell so you won't miss the next episode. If you have any question or insight, share them in the comments below. Thank you for watching, and always remember, science isn't just something we study in school. It's something we experience every single day. See you in episode 2. Bye!